Welcome to the church preview, everybody. It's Jim and not Carl. This time we have a special guest. It's Amy from Fargo. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome. And Amy will be giving the message again. Now, this is the second time that you've given a message in Bismarck, but it's a little bit different, and we're going to talk about how it's different from last time. But first, you're with Journey Fellowship. And I don't think we've worked out the details on East or Fargo or what the different areas are going to be, but you're in Fargo. Are you from Fargo originally, by the way?
No, I am not. I've lived in Fargo for over 11 years,
Right.
but I'm originally from Iowa.
From Iowa. Okay. So still Midwestern. We can accept that.
Yeah.
We're all part of the prairies.
Yep.
Good. And how did you come to be with Journey Fellowship? How did you come to that church?
So I had a friend who had started coming when they, I think it was the first year meeting at Carl and Rhonda's two-story. And she's like, oh, come there. I'm like, okay, this is really weird to meet in somebody's house. But when I saw someone else that I knew walking in, that's how I made it in the first time. And once you go, you just don't stop, in my mind, because
Absolutely.
the family atmosphere that I've found there is just unparalleled. In churches that I've been in the past, and I grew up in the church, so I've attended my entire life.
We had my wife and I, Janita and I, had a similar experience here in Bismarck in that we drove up to a garage, and this is where Prairie Heights was meeting, and it sounds like obviously our church families have been on similar paths, and it's pretty cool to see how things are coming together in the coming couple of months in September when we make things all official, and hoping to see more of this, to have Bismarck folks in Fargo folks in Bismarck, and just continuing this connection that we have. And by way of introduction for our Bismarck people, I know when I'm with Carl, we talk about things each week. So breaking the ice kind of question. When you were a kid, Amy, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Yeah, for a lot of my childhood, I guess I can't remember the early stages and stuff, but I remember ever since middle school, I had this image of working with people in parallel bars because my mom was a nurse, my dad was a teacher. I chose not to go the teacher route, and I'm still grateful for that in a school setting and stuff. I respect all teachers just because I think it's a super challenging job, but the health field had me more interested. So ever since that picture and stuff, that is actually what I do today. Is I work with amputees, and I do prosthetics and orthotics.
Oh, all right.
For day job.
Yeah, well, cool. That's really interesting, and that's usually a lot of the answers to those questions. For me, I can give you the example, and it's the classic. I wanted to be an astronaut. And the closest I am to that now is I play video games about being a space guy. So that's about as close as I got. But I love the fact that you're able to make that connection, and then also kind of bringing that the people I know, and back to my wife, the people I know that are in the medical field. Janita's a nurse. You work with folks that have special needs. The caring that goes into that really has an impact on your life and those around you. So I'm glad you're part of the church, and you'll be giving the message coming up this week. Now, last week we've been on this series of great moments in his story. And this last week, we had a message from Carl about prayer and communicating constantly with God. And I know it's the same message in Fargo on Saturdays, Bismarck on Sundays. It's had an impact this week for me. I'm generally pretty ongoing conversation type with God throughout the days, but it's caused me this week to give it a little bit more thoughtfulness instead of just being a casual conversation. That's still there, and I think that's important for me. And also taking time to revere God and give honor has been important for me this week. So I think it's been a good message, and looking forward to continue. Now, with you giving the message this week, are you continuing great moments in his story?
Yes.
Great. Okay. And what will we be? So first off, I said that it is going to be different this time because the good news, I love this. You're coming to Bismarck. So on Saturday, you'll give the message in Fargo. And I always joke about this. Now, I know I don't know a lot of the people in Fargo very well, so take this with a grain of salt. I've got a terrible sense of humor. But in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so Fargo gets the final practice, and then Bismarck gets the polished version of it. So we appreciate your sacrifice in Fargo and the warm up that you get to do there. And then in Bismarck, you're actually coming with Carl. You guys will be here in Bismarck, and you'll get to meet the folks here. So that's pretty exciting. So what type of message will we have this week?
Yeah. So we are going to go back to Elijah. I know a few weeks ago, last month at some point, Carl talked about Elijah on Mount Carmel. And that is an amazing story. And I know it's one of his favorites and stuff. But when you look shortly after, he gets done on Mount Carmel and essentially the aftermath or what happens next, that's what we're going to dig into this week and stuff. So it's in 1 Kings chapter 19. I'm not quite sure which of the verses and stuff that we'll be diving into fully, but I know it starts in 1 Kings 19.
All right.
And then we'll find out this weekend.
Well, and this, so this is Tuesday, and this is, a little bit early as far as being prepared for the message. And I know this happens quite a bit in any type of public speaking. Messages change, like going up to the moment that you begin speaking and sometimes in the middle of it. So I appreciate the preparation you have so far. And it led to another one of the questions that I have for you. So as a guy that likes to write and also likes to speak, I have a specific process that I follow. I've got an outline. I put information in, take it out. I cut it down to the bare minimum for when I do the presentation. So all of these things are my part of it. And then when I'm speaking at a church, when I'm speaking from my heart, then there's a God part of it too, right? So messages can change at any time. What's the process like for you? Are you a natural public speaker and you always love to do this kind of thing, or what's your method? Shaking your head. What's your method for putting together a message like this?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I don't know that I have a very clear answer other than no, I am not a natural public speaker, at least not in my mind. Never have been. I avoided it at all costs in a sense, and over time and stuff that just opportunities presented itself. So how the first one I think, or the first ones that I did were pretty much I wrote a script and I just read that. And I think I can always remember one of the first ones that I did like almost entirely independently and stuff. Like I'm pretty sure I just sat and read my script the very first time because I was that nervous and stuff. So it's not that bad usually anymore.
Well, the good news from the Bismarck group, I can tell you 100%. There's no judgment at the church, because I have sung and not been tarred and feathered. So if I can get away with that, you can come up and speak. Absolutely, it's as welcoming and family oriented and friendly as what I've heard everybody talk about in Fargo. So you survive that. Absolutely, we'll be grateful to have you here as well. And I think the one thing I wanted to talk about from the Bismarck side, and I just wanted to talk about this quickly. We're very food oriented. I don't know if you've heard that, if our reputation has gotten out about that. We have a potluck the third Sunday of every week, and there's a little bit of upset right now because we don't know what the theme is for the third Sunday this month, and usually we know well in advance. So we're trying to figure it out. I heard that it might be fair food, and I want some good discussion this Sunday. Let's get it figured out so that we're well prepared. So I kind of hate to talk about that, but you're more than welcome to come 2 weeks in a row. But it's not this week that we're going to have the food. There's usually treats, so you should be okay that way. But we're looking forward to having you here. So that's one thing that's unique about Bismarck, I think. We've got a set schedule for communion as the first week of the month, and then we've got this potluck that we do most often the third week of the month. And then in Fargo, I know one thing that's really cool, and is this still going on, that there's childcare available now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's relatively new from what I heard from Carl a while back, so that's pretty exciting. Is that still going okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Great. So blessings to the people that can do that, like you talked about, teachers. My daughter is a teacher, and the patience that people in that industry have is beyond my comprehension. It's a gift that I'm not even close to understanding, much less having. So thank God for those folks. And also, I wanted to give you some kudos to step out of your comfort zone and give this message that's been given to you. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate your time here. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about in terms of what's coming up with the message, or anything else happening with the church family?
Gosh, I don't know that anything comes to mind necessarily. I mean,
Yeah.
other than my dog's background noise and stuff. He's been singing the entire time.
Oh, I wish we could hear it. We'll need to turn up your microphone next time so we could.
Okay.
Yes. We actually, in Bismarck, we had a dog at the service this last week. I'm forgetting her name. She looked like a black lab or a black something like that, and she woofed amen at the exact right times. I'd say at least 3 or 4 times during the service. So I think we should become, and I can't say this, I am not on the advisory board. There's no way that I can make this happen, but I would love it if we all became dog churches. It would be utter chaos, but maybe that's something we could think about for down the road. But for now, again, I appreciate your time. Thanks for your words. Thanks for the message that's coming up this week, and I'm sure we'll be talking again down the road if you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, probably.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Well, safe travels. Are you guys coming up Sunday morning?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we'll
Yep,
be praying for safe travels then. What's happening?
Fargo has game night on Saturday night.
Oh, awesome.
So it's going to be a very full weekend and stuff for us.
Does that happen at the church building?
Mm-hmm.
Is game night? Awesome. Well, there you go. There's something exciting happening.
Yes.
And are there snacks? Will there be snacks at game night?
Of course.
Okay,
it's not
all
game
right.
night without food. So
And it's not a food afternoon without games, as far as we're concerned. So I think it works out perfectly.
there you go.
Well, really appreciate it. You take care of yourself. Again, we'll be praying for you Sunday morning on your travels and to put your mind at ease so that you're ready. And I'm sure it's all going to be great. Thanks again, everybody. And we'll see you soon. God bless.
Yep. Thanks.